They're green right now, so they're on.
Okay,
If you want to shut them off, you can,
no, we're not
but and
supposed to.
it'll go red.
Oh, no,
but-
you can
Yeah.
shut them off, so you're not going or anything. And then you just hit it twice to talk. I don't think anybody's here to speak for them, so
Okay,
we only need one. And if someone does show up, I'll give them this one.
just in case.
See, this is the time when we should just see together. It's team building. Let her know when she goes live.
Yeah. I don't have a,
Masked right now, like it's live, but it's masked, so there's no sound or video.
Oh, but they can see her singing?
It's black.
Oh,
It's just, I wanted to make sure it was
Sure, working.
working.
I wanted to end up on YouTube. No, we don't want to.
Make a bloopers video.
We charge for the piano lessons.
pardon me?
What do we charge for the piano?
I don't know, the girls will have to answer that.
That's become very expensive, actually.
I'm gonna hit the button to make it unmasked, so
We're going live. We're going
official.
My clock is silly.
Is it 6 o'clock? I don't have a watch on me.
Guess it's not slow.
Six o'clock, we call the meeting of the Park and Rec Commission agenda. Before we start, I'd like to welcome Kim Powers as our new member to the Park and Rec Commission. Okay, call to order and roll call. Everybody's here? Brian is excused. Okay, approval of the minutes for the Park and Rec Commission meeting of April 9th, 2024. Are there any corrections, comments? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for Park and Rec Commission meeting of April 9th, 2024.
Second.
And we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, review of the current financial stat pack.
Okay, you see this at each of your meetings. Kim, this will be a little new for you, so we can always walk through it a little more closely after the meeting or another day, you can let me know. But the stat pack contains several things. The first item is from our rec desk software, and it shows everything that comes in and out of our front desk at the community center. So there's kind of two different financial platforms that we use. One is our rec desk that we bring in registrations, rentals, things like that. And then the other is the workhorse program that the village utilizes. And our deposits from Rec Desk end up coming back and into workhorse, but it just shows you kind of the difference of what comes over the counter as opposed to other things that go directly into workhorse. And then what I do is just have a 5-year comparison spreadsheet, although I think I'm up to 7 years now, so we're really comparing now. And you can see that as of the end of April, which is this stat pack covers everything from January to April of 2024, we're at 42% revenue and 32% expenses. And that can fluctuate from year to year depending on when different revenues come in or certain expenses go out. So it's a peak and valley, but by the end, it usually balances out. But the important thing is that we're stable, and it does show that we're stable. So does anybody have questions on the stat pack?
I believe, Tim, you had a question about piano lessons?
Well, that's actually a little farther down. I was just
Oh,
curious. what
okay.
we charge for piano lessons.
Oh, sure. Should we wait? That's the next one. Let's do approve or to put on file the stat pack, and then we'll zip into that one.
I'll make a motion to put the financial stat pack on file.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Okay. And then I'll just jump to the next one, Casey. I'll just jump to it. So no, that's okay. So Tim, in your book that I have sitting by you, on page 18, the upper left are the piano lessons. So you can see that for a resident, we charge $75 for an hour. And then that's for how many weeks? For 4 half-hour sessions is $75. And then a non-resident would pay $115. So, pardon?
Pretty reasonable. I've got granddaughters that were taking piano lessons. It's getting very expensive.
Oh, well, they should come here then. You should bring them to the community center for piano lessons. It's a very popular program, and we've had some really good instructors running our piano lessons, so it's a very strong program. So the next thing that's on the agenda is our financial analysis spreadsheet, and this is something that we do, just not financial, sorry, service analysis, to make sure that we're on track. You know, you run things every season, and it's easy to lose track. So this is something that Renee does at the end of every season. We evaluate each program, we see what's come in, we see what goes out. Obviously, our department is a department that has to generate revenue. We work on between 60 to 65% self-revenue, and that's very important to us. But does that mean every single thing has to make money? Well, not necessarily. Some things are social goods too. So when you look at this, you'll see, you know, that we want to invest or sustain, or some things we say divest. It's just not working or it's not worth it. Doesn't mean it may not come back with a facelift, but at this time it's not meeting our needs. But if it's still something that is a social good and we maybe don't make a ton of money, sometimes that's okay too. But this is just something that you can peruse and look at. And if you have any questions, you can certainly email us or, you know, let us know your thoughts. But it's just a way for us to keep a check and balance on our programs. And you see this, you know, twice a year. So, does anybody have questions on that?
Anybody? Do you want us to put, oh, go ahead,
The only
Tim.
other question I do have is as far as your market position, you've got, you know, maybe higher or low compared to others. How often do you check that
The
position, basically?
It's usually at the end of each season, so that's why we do it. We have, like this book is kind of our spring, summer, fall. So when we were planning this guide, that's what we looked at from the previous year. So now this one is the fall to winter, so this kind of reviews how we just did. And we're gonna use that when we get back together in July to start planning our next fall and winter.
Okay, but
So-
how do you establish where you are? Do you make calls, or do you just look at other people's programs as far as the pricing for things? That's something. Using your piano lessons as.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, how do we set our prices and know what we're doing? That is something that we work on. There's a statewide organization called the Wisconsin Park and Rec Association that we're part of, and pretty much every park and rec department in the state is part of this association. So we have regional meetings, we have state conferences, and these are the things that we all look at and talk about statewide, like, okay, what are you charging? What is your market? What we charge in Jackson may be different than what they're charging in Wanakee or Sun Prairie, because we're just a different demographic. But it's good when we're talking to those other communities just to see. And then you have to really discover, and sometimes it's just trial and error of what your community will hold. And I mean, we've been doing it here in Jackson for so long. We pretty much have a pretty good grip on if we go too high, yeah, then it goes the other way. And our goal here is, yes, we need to generate revenue so we can keep the lights on at the community center, but it's also to create that fabric of community. We're a very important, community offering that gives quality of life to Jackson, and it supports it in a lot of different ways. And I know you guys are all aware of that. You can't have economic development if you don't have quality of life and tourism and other things to make your community a fun and happy place to live. That's what people want too. So all those things have to go hand in hand when you make the puzzle. And it's nice to have colleagues and counterparts and associations where we can totally do that. Go to roundtables, bounce off how you're running your youth sports programs. What are you charging for your Pee Wee classes? Are you partnering with this group? Because every rec department's a little bit different. It's not as standardized as maybe a police department or a fire department is, they have a pretty rigid stand. But Park and Rec, sometimes they don't run any programs and they just do sports. Some of them don't run any special events and they just do youth programs. It just depends on the community and what that community wants to see. And with Jackson, we don't have a lot of other things, and I think part of that is not having our own school district. So we kind of fill the need of many, many things, and we're proud to do it. We're happy to be able to do that, so.
I guess the question is, okay, let's say summer sports for kids, okay, as far as baseball, whatever. Germantown used to have programs where they'd have, you sign up for your league and whatever. There'd be certain costs. Do we know how we stack up against other people like that? Because basically a kid could go to Germantown or go to Cedar River.
Nope, that's a good question. And one of the things you'll notice if you look through our guide, especially in Washington County, we partner very closely with quite a few of our park and rec departments. We've been partnering really close with Slinger for many years. So you'll see some things in our guide that are held in Slinger, mainly, some that are held here. We've done some partnering with Germantown, not a lot. They kind of have a little bit different program going. We've done some things with West Bend, but we try to partner and work together with as many as we can. But Slinger is really the one that we're pretty tight with because we share facilities and things like that too. So it helps us to keep our prices in line because a lot of times we're offering the same program. So, and if someone were to register in Slinger, they're getting their Slinger rate. If they register here in Jackson, they're paying their Jackson resident rate. Now, if our Jackson person went to Slinger to register, they'd have to pay the non-resident rate and vice versa. So it's a good way to keep up what we're charging for what, if that helps. I mean, it's not like there's a report that goes out through Park and Recs every month saying here's what they're charging for this and for that. I mean, we usually have those conversations at regional meetings and things like that.
Okay. Kelly, do you want that?
You could put that on file. I don't know how.
I just lost my
Sure.
I'll make the motion to put the service analysis and financial strategy spreadsheet fall 2023 and winter 2024 on file. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 5, Jackson Dog Park update.
Well, I apologize. I was hoping to have more of an update. We were gonna take a little tour of the grounds, myself and Brian Kober and Jeff from Grummer and Associates, and I think one other person that's gonna be working on the road project, and we've had to reschedule that. So we're hoping by our next meeting that I'll have a more concrete report on that, because we're trying to figure out how that road project might work in unison with the dog park project too, and we wanna bring that before the commission and the Public Works Committee in the next month or two, for sure, definitely by July.
Have we established that that area will be serviceable, will be usable?
That's not 100% yet, but we're looking at that because we just don't have a lot of other good places. And it's a park that's already there. There's already trails carved in it for humans, and it would be a really good spot that's underutilized. So we'll see if it will work or it won't work, and we're still in the process. And MSA is just kind of waiting for us to have this meeting so that we'll have some more of that information to feed back to them so they can get rolling on their end, so.
What are some of the basic characteristics of a dog park that you have to have?
A fence, so you definitely want to have a fence. You know, that's the whole point, you don't want your dog running all over. Definitely, like, having walking trails is an asset. Once in a while, you'll go to places and you'll just see a big empty field with a big fence, and that's just, I mean, you can certainly do that, but it's not a nice dog park, and we want to make sure it's a nice dog park with some trails, with some open areas. We want to have a separate area for smaller dogs, because some people that have, you know, little dogs don't want them in with the big dogs, but they also don't want to be on the other side of town because they may have two dogs. So there's those things, and really those are the big things. And then parking. So our biggest thing is fencing, parking, and trails and open space. We can always get the containers out there for waste, and we have a potential Eagle Scout that is just waiting for us to get this a little more together, because he wants to work on some of the signage and also some fun little, I don't know what you want to call it, like agility items, almost like playground equipment for dogs. But he wants to do that for his Eagle project, which would be fantastic. So we're trying to work all those things in as we do the walkthrough. And you definitely would want a couple acres, especially, I think this, when this gets built, our demographics show like we have more dogs than children right now, I think, in Jackson. If you look at one of the reports, it's like crazy. It's going to be a pretty popular dog park, so we want to make sure it's large enough so we don't have user conflicts, and we want to do it right, so we're not going to rush it.
Okay, anybody else comments about a dog park? Okay, moving on, Kelly, presentation for the Jackson Community Center expansion, logistics for staff, instructors, partners, and public information.
Can I walk and talk if I talk really loud? Just figured this was a little easier than, still gonna just talk really loud. All right. So, I don't know, can you guys all see this? I was gonna try to do it on that, but, all right. So, I have my fun little toy. The area's in yellow, so this spot right here, these little spots, and then this side over here, all show like areas where there'll be expansion or some change. What we've been working really hard on is trying to establish where everybody's gonna go, why this construction's going on. And, you know, I just keep telling everyone it's like roughly a 9-month construction period, according to Moore. And it's like a pregnancy, and we just gotta get through the horrible parts. And then when that baby's born, it's gonna be fantastic and everybody will be happy. So right now, what we have going on, this section over here, which is the west side of the building, is going to be the early learning area. So this demolition is all starting June 3rd. So what's happening right now is the Boys and Girls Club has to empty all their stuff out of here, and the teen room. Well, it's not here because it's not there yet. So like this part right here and the teen room. And then Sherry, who's in the Head Start area currently right here, just needs to, when, as soon as school ends, get all her things like in this corner, cause it's gonna be the one wall that's affected. And we just met with, the site manager today, just to meet with Sherry, just to answer some questions. We've been meeting with the teachers quite a bit, and we've met with the Boys and Girls Club quite a bit already. And we're meeting with them again on Thursday. So their things will either get boxed or moved. They purchase big carts to put their games, because then in the summer, the Boys and Girls Club will move here. The nice thing is, once school ends, for our Head Start, our 3K, and our 4K, we don't really have to worry about that. We have our Tot Time program, but that's gonna move over here to where we kind of have the library and the 3K all already there. So they will be there. Boys and Girls Club will be in the gym. When school starts back up, I know, it's kind of crazy, but we're gonna get this all to work out. The Boys and Girls Club will move from the gym to the gathering hall, but they'll have to be pretty mobile for the most part, because we'll still have rentals going on and other programs there. Head Start will be able to resume. There'll just be a temporary border wall. They plan to have all of this enclosed by September, by the time school starts. So all they're doing there is interior work, which will be very helpful. And then our 4K program will move to what now is basically the teen room. It'll just have a barrier, temporary wall, like a plywood wall. Our 3K will still be able to stay where they are for now in the lending library. And all three groups will switch off using the dance studio. We have one instructor's classes that will still be running in there, but I think we adjusted the times a little bit in the fall, and then most of the other classes are gonna be moving to the gathering hall, because Boys and Girls Club then won't be there till after school. So it's just like, we're really juggling, but we got this, I think, down pretty good. We have some big bins and things that we were gonna house in the gymnasium, but now I'm not sure. The way we're looking now, we might be packing a lot of things that'll either be mobile, or a lot of the furniture that's coming back in. We've already worked with Public Works. That'll all go in cold storage. They have a whole spot for us there. So we may not have to take up a portion of the gym, which would be great, because then we would lose a whole pickleball court in the winter, and we're really trying to avoid that if we can, because they would get really crabby at us. So, but we got this. We don't want to infringe on anybody's leisure time, and that's all important. So we're doing our best to make it all work. And then this will be the first portion they work on, to try to get these guys in their classrooms as quickly as possible after the first of the year. Then we'll get over here to get the club into their spaces, the seniors over here, and all our other groups into the auditorium and games room lounge area. And then we'll start expanding this area and working on the front desk and just the kitchen cabinets, as they can squeeze that in when they have the cabinet people there. And a lot of it's just gonna be when things are available. One of the largest things that was gonna kind of hold things up, if it was gonna be held up, was the purchase of the HVAC units. And we're pretty happy, because at the pre-construction meeting, our contractor that got that award, which is Surefire, which is actually the new company in Jackson now, Jackson Heating and Hardware. So it was nice having a local company get that bid. But anyway, they were pretty excited, because they're like, no, we can now get those in 8 weeks, which they were thinking months and months and months, like that was gonna hold up the whole project getting those units. So Jason from Moore Construction was pretty happy when he found that out, because that really helped with the whole timetable. I know they are bringing the job trailer in tomorrow, and that will be parked in the parking lot, and they'll start blocking that off. We've already been letting people know to start parking across the street if they can in the park, and just to try to make things work the best that we can. And yeah, it'll be a little crazy, but it'll sure be worth it in the end, and it'll give a lot more opportunities for folks when it's done. One thing that came out of a meeting we had at lunch today with all the teachers, because there really won't be any green space, and one of our important goals with all our early learners is to get them outside, you know, for those breaks as much as we can. So we were talking about going to the park, and they asked, well, can we just stick snow fencing and make a circle? And I'm like, And then Renee had an awesome idea. She's like, well, the splash park closes, after Labor Day, and it's fenced in, and there's stuff, and we could actually store some trikes and things in where the bathroom is. So they would just have to walk the kiddos over there, and they were pretty excited about that. I met with Brian Kober this afternoon just to say, hey, is this gonna ruin anything, rock anybody's world? Do you think this will work? What am I not thinking of? And he thought it was a great idea. There's nothing that can really get harmed. I mean, kids play on it all summer, so it's not that it could get broken. So that was a pretty good thing that came out of it. And that's what we've been finding. The more, we just start talking through, okay, oh my God, what if this happens, or what if this? Okay, well, let's talk through it. Let's figure it out. And then we always, can come up with, well, how about this? And then it usually ends up to be pretty good and better than it was before. So keeping communication open with everybody has been important, which I think we can show because we invited all of our instructors and staff and all the people if they wanted to come tonight, if they felt they didn't have all the information. And only Hecky showed up, so we're okay, I think. But yeah, so it's moving forward, and we're gonna get there, and you'll start seeing construction things as early as tomorrow with the job trailer, and we'll just keep moving as we go.
Any questions?
Yeah, I got a couple.
Okay, no, don't apologize.
Did you have some questions? You go first.
No.
All right. With security for the kiddos, okay, when you've got the construction people moving around, how are you dealing with that?
That's gonna be tough because we won't have lockable doors. That's gonna be a tough thing because we won't have it like we have it now. So it's just gonna have to, we're gonna have to get through it for a few months. And
Well, when the kids check in when they're dropped off for Head Start or something, I assume you log them in that they're there.
yeah, and right now, like Sherry with Head Start, she doesn't have a locking room, so it's no different for her. When they come, either the school bus or the parents come, to the front, the teachers come and get the kiddos, and she's got a laptop and she has attendance, and then they walk them back, which is exactly what will happen now with 4K. It'll be the same, and 3K is still the same. We don't have a locking door here right now. That's one of our big problems. So the only classroom technically that's secured right now is 4K. So, and they'll treat it just like Head Start and everybody else, because the bus will have to still drop off, and our staff there will still have to type it into the laptop for attendance.
Do you have a way of checking construction people in and out? Like who's supposed to be in the building, who's not?
We have a construction manager that will be here every single day, and he'll know every person, and we'll be talking every day too. So I think we'll have a pretty good handle on the contractors. And right now, it's a community center, so anybody can be walking in and out now. We don't stand at the door and,
I understand that, it's just
yep,
you're introducing a new,
it's true. It's a valid question for sure, so.
And to expand during the pre-construction meeting, Moore did go the extra mile and say, clean it up. Physically, you can't be leaving messes, you can't be leaving materials out, and don't talk like you can sometimes experience, because you have small ones and families. You just need to be cognizant, and they were very direct in that conversation.
track of their tools, it's not for somebody to get hurt on.
Oh, and thank you for bringing that up, because I was happy to hear that. They really did hit that home to all the contractors. And not only that, but they're going the extra mile too. They have a third-party safety person that is coming in to check the site. What did they say, like every week or every 2 weeks? They're coming through the whole thing to make sure all the contractors are doing what they need to do to keep the facility safe. And the big reason is because this is it's still a working facility. It's not an empty building that's being remodeled. So it was very important to them, and they felt they wanted a third party, not that someone, Moore Construction is just checking it. No, there is a party coming in, and they're evaluating how you're keeping it safe, how you're keeping it clean, how your employees are behaving. And I didn't even know they were doing that till they announced that at the pre-con meeting, and that was pretty awesome, I thought.
Kids of that age, I'm assuming that they need to use the bathroom, somebody's going with them
Oh,
of adult age.
definitely. Well, we have a whole system for that. And if you've gone to the bathroom at the community center, when you walk in, you'll see all the little reminders about washing your hands. And then we have to have stools. There's stools in all the bathrooms, like the public bathrooms.
And also, the subcontractors will not be using those facilities. They will be using the portable units.
Yes.
Just so that division, is that where you were?
Is that, oh,
Even at church for Sunday school, we have the kids checked in literally on a computer and they got a tag on them and everything else. So you can, and you
They
don't get to
don't-
go home unless somebody's got the tag to match.
right, yeah. And our kiddos don't go anywhere in the building if they're not with teachers.
Okay.
All the time. That's an important thing. The Boys and Girls Club, that a little different, they kind of work, but that's their arena, how they wanna run that, but, they still have staff that oversee everything, and, I think everybody's goal is always to keep people as safe as we can. Keep an eye on them, so.
Any
All I
more?
got.
Is the teen room gonna get a new door? Are they gonna cut
So-
through the construction to get?
Yep, so we were pretty excited because we thought this was not gonna even be usable, but, and then we thought we are gonna have to try to somehow get 4K and what the library is now, and then do our 3K like with but, well, we don't have to do any of that now, because after talking to Craig, our on-site manager, he's like, well, what if they're taking this door out of here, it's gonna go right here, there'll be a temporary wall here, and now this is gonna become the 4K room. So that way, we're not disrupting all of these groups. 4K will just be in a smaller condensed area. And actually, Angie was thrilled, our 4K teacher, because the thought of having to be mobile and do some stuff here and some stuff here, and so it's very difficult. And we very typically have had a classroom that is a diverse classroom, and we have a lot of special need children that come into our classes, and it's wonderful, but sometimes it's a little difficult. It makes it tough to do different things. So she was really happy to know that she would have a home base there. So, and I think all the teachers just know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel too, which makes it good, because they need that space. And I know a lot of our businesses and corporations that utilize our facility for rentals and things, there's a lot of times where Jess has to just say, we can't let you in, you don't have the space. But Cary Foods, Cisco, Holland's Heating and Hardware, they're there quite a bit with trainings. They're all very thrilled that there's gonna be some more space, so. More options, and we are too, because it's nice rental fees that come in with that, but.
Any more questions, comments? Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah, and I'll just
Did a
keep you
great job.
updated and the progress and, but so far, getting over all the hurdles, so. There's
Great.
a lot of people to work with to make this happen, so.
Great job, thank you,
It's been really good, so.
thank you. Moving on, any citizens, village staff to address the Park and Rec Committee?
Yes, welcome, Kim. Yay.
Yay. Okay, seeing that's, nobody's gonna ask any questions or address the Park and Rec Committee, I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
It's getting hot coming through this window.
The tsunamis and everything else. I have, my nephew flew in from Seattle today, and he said, "Oh, what's the weather like?" I said, "You're flying in